So the Nets got absolutely demolished on opening night. Not a very good viewing experience. We're a few hours. It was on this morning. And I thought I'd just gather my main takeaways from game one. I think we'll be doing this for the games I don't stream. And we do a watch along for. But I think without further ado, let's just dive right in. I think we got to start things off with the positives. There weren't too many as there are in a 23-point loss. But probably the main one is Patty Mills. Great start to his Nets career, however long that may be. 7 of 7 from downtown were all his makes, all 3-point makes, to go with 2 assists and a steal and a block. I only watched the first half, but from what I saw, the defensive effort was there. He forced a couple players significantly taller than him into some really outrageous shot selection. Couple good dimes as well, and ESPN just automatically started playing some Patty Mills highlights, which is really fitting. But regardless, look, we didn't shoot the ball that badly as well. KD, doing what he does, 32 and 11 rebounds alongside the 2 blocks as well. But yeah, Patty Mills is probably the shining light. Looked absolutely scorching hot from deep. And obviously that translates from his FIBA form, in the Olympics and whatnot for Australia. So, really good signs. Obviously, we know he's a bit of an inconsistent shooter. He's probably not going to, score 7 of 7 every game. But if he can do this every so often, especially without Kyrie, I think it's going to go a long way to success. But it didn't do so today. And there's plenty of negatives. Let's just start things off with the whole team selection debacle. We went with Claxton, Blake Griffin, and Kevin Durant. We haven't really seen that at all, if ever, in Nash's reign, going really tall. Still, rebounding was a problem, a big problem. And some of that it comes down to misses, but ultimately we're out-rebounded by 10. That's including getting out-rebounded 8 times on the offensive glass, which is not a good sign when you look at all the tall options we have on the roster. These things aren't going to come with, fine-tuning how many minutes each player is going to get. This just comes down to the personnel you've got on the team, which isn't really going to change throughout the course of the year. So, seeing that, if we come across this team, which we probably will, if we make it to, I don't know, Eastern Conference Finals, that's being optimistic at the moment. That's gonna be a big problem, and we've got to figure out ways to, work around that, especially in the other 2 or 3 matchups we'll have against this squad in the regular season. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we troubleshoot that one, because it wasn't great viewing tonight. We also look at Bruce Brown getting 4 minutes. What's up with that? Didn't have a bad preseason. Maybe it wasn't, his place in this game against the Bucks, because obviously there's games that he works out and there's games he doesn't, especially with his unique skill set. I think we were going for a bit more of a height option. You could see that approach in the starting lineup. So we probably didn't want Bruce Brown, but to not even get bench minutes, Paul Millsap only got the 5 minutes. James Johnson got the 21, and he probably wasn't the answer for Giannis. Giannis is unstoppable, really. Free throws look good. He's got a jump shot. He hit a 3. Defensively, he's bonkers. So, yeah, he's going to be an absolute issue. And then even if you look at the box score, 12 and 7 for Nic Claxton isn't too bad in 24 minutes. But from what I saw in the first half, looked really lethargic. Defensive efforts were a bit lacking. Just looked a bit sluggish, bit gassed maybe. I'm not too sure, but he seemed a bit stunned. Obviously, a lot of Nets fans were really excited to see him in the starting lineup. This is what we've been waiting for, really. But it didn't happen tonight. So hopefully there's a bit of a bounce back against Philly. and he's going to have a very tough defensive assignment against Embiid. So he's got to be awake, and he's got to be raring and ready to go. Negative 15 in 24 minutes is not great. And I think just from a Bucks perspective, you're looking pretty nice at the moment. Obviously, a fairly well-rounded performance. Jrue Holiday, only the 18 minutes, went out to a contusion, I believe. But even that, that was fine. You could still play it out. George Hill didn't really have an impact, but I mean, Connaughton, Jordan Nwora. Nwora is probably going to be in a similar boat to Jordan Poole. They've had a couple of years where they've had, not many opportunities, and when they do, pretty inefficient shooting nights. But Jordan Nwora has shown everything in the preseason to indicate that he could be on for a great season, and today was no exception. I mean, it's only game one. But yeah, it looks like you're looking a bit deeper. No Bobby Portis, no Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood's a forgotten name in the NBA, but those two were out as well. And you were playing, a couple of your rookies for limited minutes. Thanasis will get an opportunity. This is pretty good viewing if you're a Bucks fan. But yeah, I think ultimately for the Nets, it's going to be crucial that we figure out what the right lineup is, and I think it's going to change every game on a game-by-game basis, especially when you've got a lot of guys that, some of them play a very similar role, and you're just figuring out what works, what meshes. Today it didn't really work out defensively, nor did it offensively. The bench, you got Mills, and then the rest combined for 4 points, and that's across 8 players. Some of them played 4 to 5 minutes, but that's not the point. The point is we're lacking a bit of bench depth. We need Bruce Brown to come into the lineup and score a 10-point game, 4 of those being floaters, add something unique, as opposed to this ISO ball game style. It worked at times because Harden was on fire in the first half. Joe Harris, 3 of 5 from 3, that's what you want to see, especially with his shooting rut in in the Eastern Conference semis last time round. But in saying that, we were well off the mark defensively, offensively, turnover wise, rebounding wise. We didn't shoot the ball bad. We shot it just under a better clip than the Bucks. We were above 50% from downtown. We had more free throws. We shot 56% from the line on 23 attempts, which is just appalling. Missing 10 of your 23 is bad. But then on top of that, you look at the turnover game. It's not as bad as I first thought, 12-7. But then you look at, the block game was decent, but ultimately we turned the ball over more, got out rebounded significantly for the majority of the night, and that's resulted in a very sizable loss. So I think in some ways it could be a misleading loss in terms of margin, but in saying that, we were well off the mark. Anyway, that's going to be all my thoughts from this, all my takeaways, all my thoughts. I hope you like this. Let me know if you want to see it a bit more often throughout the course of the season. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it from me. Drop a like on the show and subscribe. We'll be doing lots of Brooklyn Nets content throughout the NBA season. And if you want to see some more stuff by me, regarding the Nets, it's all here. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.